Frith, hope all is well. This video is a continuation of working with Uruz, in particular, working on connecting more with its energy. And one way that I've done that is, of course, like Uruz represents the Uruks, the ancestors to our modern cattle and the bulls. So one way that I do connecting with things is actually to get something, some object. So in this particular case, I have a fossil of an ancient Uruk. And this is a way of actually literally touching in with the physical energies of what the rune's pointing to, and in this particular case, the Uruks. Studying the associations and correspondences, you can learn what different people have experienced in connection with Uruz. So I encourage you to study up on associations and correspondences. And that way it gives you this opportunity to kind of look and see, like, not only just by reading the correspondences, it gives you like, all right, well, this is a particular view on life. What do I have about courage? Am I courageous? And so one way that I do that, because working with runes to me is not only about growing in strength and power and connecting with their energies and all that, it's also the internal side. Not only in the sense of like working through my own shit, but also just learning about myself. So in studying Uruz, one of the associations is courage, and that's connected with young warriors sometimes would go out and test their strength and their courage against the wild Uruks, which was a freaking powerful ass animal back in the days. So then working with courage, like I can look into my own life, and it's like, well, when have I experienced courage, and when have I been a coward? Because I've had both in my life, and so it's just looking at our lives and seeing those aspects, and then moving into like, all right, well, I actually want to be more courageous, right? And so part of that is addressing fears and things that would interfere with that sense of courage and ability to stand up against shit. So that could be that has been a meditation of mine. So when working with Rune Yoga, I'll go through the warm-up sequence to just kind of get the energy flowing, and then I'll actually move into the stada, in this case like Uruz. So I get into that posture, right, and I'm starting to do its intonations. As I do that, I'm visualizing the energy coming up through my body, up into my system, and flowing back down, and it's like building, because part of working with Uruz is also about working with building endurance and stability and actual like resistance and power in that regard as well. So, and all this is all connected to, because it's just energy, right? We're just getting energy flowing and stuff, and then we're using our mind to focus on, which we'll talk about on Thursdays in the next video. So I bring all that energy, right? All that energy that I've built up, I bring it in and I focus it and direct it towards what my ritual meditation is about, in this particular case, courage. So I start by just doing introspection and just checking out in my own experiences, where have I shown courage and where have I not, right? Just getting a gauge of where I'm at is important, because that's where we're at. That's where we're starting at. And sometimes it's like, maybe we don't have very many moments in our life that are courageous. Maybe, we've lived a life in general where there wasn't really a necessary need for that. Which is fine, that's where you're starting at. But maybe you've had a really shitty life, and there's been many, 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 many times where you've had to show courage and be courageous. Just to get up sometimes to fucking go to work can be courageous and amazing, right? Because you're confronting maybe a fear, or maybe just this big resistance that you just don't want to have to deal with it, or what the fuck, right? So it takes courage, it takes strength to actually get up and get going sometimes, right? So that could be where you're starting. That's your baseline. And then from there, it's starting to question, you know, I guess gauging where you're at on that scale of, are you courageous or not? I mean, it is, when you start to look at your life, you can start to see, maybe I haven't been that courageous. Maybe people just push me around all the time and I give in. I mean, if that's the case, that is where you're at, right? Just accept the fact, because that's part of walking a path, is just accepting the fact that we are who we are right now. Doesn't mean that's who we are. It doesn't mean that's who we'll always be. It just means that's where we're at right now. This is the energy, this is our experience, this is our character qualities. And from there, then that's where, for me, part of working with Rune Yoga is so amazing, is because it's like, all right, well, I actually want to be more courageous in my life, right? That would be the meditation. And so I start to focus on courage. Like, what does it mean to be courageous? Just to start to understand, like, the concept of what courage is, right? And then to start to look at my life, like, well, where can I begin to be more courageous? Maybe just, you know, standing up to a loved one and saying your truth. Maybe that's just where you start, right? Whatever it is, like, that's the point of working in ritual, is first, you know, of course, inviting more energy and using that energy for whatever we want, right? And then if we're using it for self-cultivation, which is, you know, that I'm all about that, then we start to look at ourselves, we start to see where we're at, then we start to look for areas that we could be more courageous in, and we start to do it, right? We've built all this energy, we've set our mind and our focus towards accomplishing this goal, whatever it is, and then we start doing it, right? That's the part of the path, is that you actually start walking it to where you want to be and where you want to go. All right, so that's pretty much what I wanted to share regarding working with Urus. Till next video, I wish you well, and be blessed.
Odin, Thor, Freyr, Freya, Sif, Frigga.